This is African American History is American History. We'll Never Turn Back is a powerful 1963 documentary film directed by Harvey Richards and produced by the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, or SNCC. This landmark film captures a crucial moment in American history, the dangerous voter registration drives in Mississippi. And it's not hyperbole to say that all the participants were risking their very lives to make this film and let their voices be heard. Amzie Moore, a Mississippi NAACP activist, escorted the filmmaker through rural Mississippi, interviewing sharecroppers and activists in the voter registration campaign. Appearing in the film are SNCC leaders Julian Bond, Bob Moses, Fannie Lou Hamer, Charles McLaurin, as well as local civil rights leaders Curtis Hayes and Hollis Watkins. There are interviews with black farmers and sharecroppers on the horrors they experienced in Mississippi, simply trying to register to vote. Their stories are a testament to the resilience and determination of those who fought against systemic oppression in the Jim Crow South.
This picture is essentially for Americans, people who call themselves Americans. It's about those in the South today who are trying to make democracy live. It begins with the painful and heartfelt assumption that we are not an island of perfection, but in fact a land of imperfection in an imperfect world. Negroes are trying to register, to vote, and help to change the situation that they're existing under today, help to bring about democracy in our land today. Until we all been free and we.
Mississippi, 1963. Freedom. For a moment, in this hillside home, they are secluded from the white segregationists who carry guns and clubs.
I have been living in the Mid-County 52 or 3 years. I've participated in everything that the county saw fit for a citizen to participate in. And also I raised my family here in the Mid-County, 9 head of children. I only have 2 kids now going to school here in the Mid-County. I also was a president of the NAACP here in the Mid-County. And I do think that every citizen in the Mid-County should participate in an election. And I hope and trust that I will have the privilege to vote once or twice in my life.
I'm Mrs. Fannie Lou Hamer, and I farmed on the Marlowe plantation for 18 years. I had charge of keeping up with the time and paying off, and I went down the 31st of August to try to register. And after I had gotten back home, Mr. Marlowe told me that I would have to go down and withdraw my registration or leave because they wasn't ready for that in Mississippi. And I said, Mr. Marlowe, I'm trying to register for myself. So I had to leave that same night after I had gone down in August. And then I spent one night with Mrs. Tucker, and after about 2 days in September, they shot in the house 15 times thinking that I was there.
Resistance to change in the South is great, and behind the headlines, there's a story of intimidation that is seldom told. The police dogs, the police brutality, the use of fire hose and other forms of intimidation to turn Negroes back is what hits the headlines daily. But there's a story that is yet to be told.
Turn me around, ain't gonna let it go, burn it. Turn me around, keep on walking, keep on talking, marching up the freedom land. Ain't gonna let no injunction. Turn me around, my Lord, turn me around, my Lord, turn me around. Ain't gonna let no injunction. Turn me around, keep on walking, keep on talking, marching up the freedom land.
Mrs. McGee tries to make a living on a farm for herself and 4 teenage children.
They sent me to the hospital. They put my lane in the soil bank. They got $1,095. They rented the other lane for $375. They put my children on welfare. When I came out of the hospital, they had taken my fence down and widened the road down through my place. They had went around and got all of my creditors, different people that I owed that trust me, and they hadn't paid anybody. I got a lawyer to straighten my business out, and he told me that he would. Well, he didn't do anything about it. He worried me about selling some of the land. I told him that I didn't want to sell the land, that I wanted to furnish so that I could farm and make a living for my children. And so they just put pressure on me. They cut the welfare check to $20 a month, then they cut it to $17 a month. They worried me so that I had a nervous breakdown in '60. I had to go back to the hospital. So when I came back home. I still tried to get her punished. He collected all the money, rent on the place. He didn't pay the federal land bank, the notes that I owed. They put pressure on me trying to get me to sell the land. I refused. So last year, I rented a portion of the land for $200 cash. He got that $200. He didn't give us any of it.
I went down to Illinois to register and vote. I got down and made my revival back. My landlord said unto me, if you don't go down and take your name off the registration, to move. I took his word and I moved to Drew, Mississippi. Couldn't set too much pressure to be on the landlord there. Had me to move on to Cleveland, Mississippi. After arriving to Cleveland, Mississippi, my wife, she had to go to the hospital down to Jackson. It's there on the same generation. And I didn't know what step to take. I'm still working. 9 girls here. I'm working, trying to take care of them, the best of my knowledge.
This is Mrs. Mildred Evans. She's 32 years of age. She's lived on Mr. W.D. Field's plantation for 11 years. She's the mother of 8 children. Her children do not attend school regularly because of food, clothing, and money. Last year, Mrs. Evans made 11 bales of cotton. At the end of the year, she only received $123.
I am 17 years old. I pick 300 pounds of cotton a day.
I am 9 years old. I help my mother pick cotton. I pick 100 by day.
I am 14 years old. I help my mother pick cotton. I can pick about 200 a day.
This is Mrs. P. Williams, the great-grandmother of the 5 children here. She receives a small Social Security check each month, and from this she must help support the children so their mothers earn and take care of them.
The reason I do, because my mother worked a crop, and I had to help her, and so I quit school so that I could help her.
We have walked through the shadows of death. We've had to walk all by ourselves, but we'll never
and the two girls and our daughter was sitting on the chair, and the girl was badly shot up, and they had to be rushed to the hospital, and they suffered very much. We went over to see them, and they were very much in pain. They had to be rushed to another hospital in Jackson, and one had to go. And this is the results after I had registered.
My name is Bob. I was working in Ruleville, Mississippi on the night of the shootings, 1762. I went to the hospital to check on the condition of the two girls who had been shot and was arrested shortly after my arrival there by the mayor of the town of Ruleville. I spent the night in jail talking to the mosquitoes with no charges preferred against me.
The night the shot was made in my house, there was no one there but me and my wife.
We have hung out his and cried, died for you, and he died for me, died for the cause of equality.
And the next day when I worked 6 months, last 6 months employment compensation.
My name is Eddie Nunnery, native of Mid-County and live in the state of Mississippi. I've gone to try to register at this register office, and after going there several times, they failed me and told me I was disqualified to register. And after going there once, it was a gun fired.
Lots of people in Mid-County are afraid to go to Liberty and register or vote because they're afraid of being killed. Lots of them are afraid to join the NAACP because they'd be afraid to lose their job and have to go hungry.
I'm Willie Peacock, a field secretary for the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee. At present, I'm working in Greenwood, Mississippi, in Lower Ford County, on voter registration. Our present activities are the distribution of the food, which has been sent from the north as an emergency relief. We feel that this particular food will serve the needs of the needy to the greatest advantage. I think that they are very appreciative of this, and I think that they care and are concerned about them.
Paul and Silas, they went to jail, had no money for to go their bail. Keep your eyes on the prize and hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Keep your eyes on the prize and hold on. Hold on. Hold on.
I am William Wesley. I have gone down to Liberty, Mississippi several times to try to register vote. The second time I went down to register, which was filling out the form, or gone fraud. When the gone fraud, I went out to see what was happening. My sons remained on in filling out.
When I come back, we left my son, when we left out, my son say, Mr. White man come across the hall and told Mr. Fulton somebody got the hell shot out of him, and he said he sure did. And the last time we went out, fill out the form, we complete our forms. They asked him how did we come out. He said we had to come back in several days. They're going to run a publication. Several days was up, we went back in. He said we had several more days. And when several more days was up, we went back down to see how we come out. And he got his chair and pulled it to the desk, and we all sit down. He went over the application just like some passed and some didn't. And got to the end of them. None of us didn't pass, and so I asked him, what did I fail on? My application, or my section, or duty of assistant? And he replied, all of it.
My name is Mabel Lee Wesley. I live in Liberty, Mississippi. I was one of the first ones to go to Liberty to register to vote. And wasn't anything said that day because the officers was very surprised. Then later I carried some more people, and they did not finish because they began to beat Brit Travis, and they got scared and ran out.
Well, if you won't go, don't you hinder me. If you don't go, don't you hinder me. If you don't go, don't you hinder me. I'm on my way, praise God, I'm on my way. Well, if you won't go, let your children go. Well, if you won't go, let your children go. Well, if you won't go, let your children go. I'm on my way, praise God.
In the young people, there's hope. Many of them have dropped out of school for a year or more to work as field secretaries for the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, going into the rural areas of the South to register people, to teach the people how to register and vote, and to use the franchise as an effective means of change. They exist on $10 and $15 a week, living with the people, working with the people, trying to build new horizons for tomorrow.
I, as a young Negro of Mississippi, feel that feels not wanted because due to the fact the white people of the South, they don't seem to understand the younger generation of Negroes. We won't put up with the present situation. It makes any Negro who is sensible kind of angry when he hears any person asks the Negro, why do you want to do this, do that? Why you want to vote? Why you want to go to the University of Mississippi? Well, I think that the Negro should be able to choose his own institution as the white youth when he finishes high school. I think that the Negroes should be treated just like the white. I think when I will finish high school, that I will try to enter the College of Ole Miss as if James Murray.
My name is Emma Bell. I'm from Macomb, Mississippi. I'm 19 years of age. I'm a field secretary for the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee. I'm working on voter education programs in Greenville, Mississippi.
I feel that the Negroes in the South, especially the younger ones, would like to have the same opportunities and privileges that any other American citizen would have. And living within the system of segregation, they are aware that this cannot ever exist. Therefore, they are willing to work and fight much harder to do away with segregation.
The reason why I'm in the movement in the South is because I think that things have gotten to the point where people have to do things for themselves. They've got to stop depending on the federal government or the state governments or even their local governments to secure their rights for them. They've got to act to win the rights that the Constitution guarantees them. People must make up their minds that if they want to be free, and if they want others to be free, then they've got to do something. Something beyond just giving money or just casting a vote or just wishing others well, but they've got to put their bodies in the movement, as we say. They've got to get out on the front lines, and they've got to do something for themselves and for other people.
My name is James Jones. I'm 20 years old. I was arrested in Jackson, Mississippi for participating in the Freedom Ride. I was charged with breach of the peace and sent to Parsons Penitentiary. While being there 2 weeks, we heard the girls singing on the other side. So we asked one of the trustees what was wrong. He told us that the guards had taken the girls' mattress, so we decided that we would protest that same night. We all started singing. The sheriff came down and put us in solitary. Solitary is about 6 feet wide, 7 feet tall. He put 27 of us in solitary, and that night, one of the fellows panicked. Another guy fainted, and so we decided we would cool down and asked the guard and asked the sheriff to let us out. So he let us out, and now that I'm out of Parsons Penitentiary, I'm now working on voter registration in Sunflower County. Parsons is located in Sunflower County.
I'm the freedom son, gonna stay right here and fight for freedom until this battle is won. Oh, which side are you on, boy? Which side are you on? Which side are you on, boy? Which side are you on? Oh, tell me how you stand it. Oh, tell me how you can. Will you be an Uncle Tom or will you be a man, Lord? Which side are you on, boy? Which side are you on, Lord? Which side are you on, boy? Which side are you on? They tell me in Mississippi no neutral have they met. You're either a freedom fighter or Tom Rod Burnett. Which side are you on, boy? Which side are you on, my Lord? Which side are you on, boy? Which side are you on? Don't listen to Mr. Charlie, don't listen to his lies. Us colored folks haven't got a chance unless we organize. Lord, which side are you on, boy? Which side are you on, Lord? Which side are you on, boy? Which side are you on, Lord? Which side are you on, boy? Which side are you on?
For the very basic right to vote in our country, there's seemingly an endless chain of violence.
Liberty, Mississippi, to register. The registrar gave me some paper to fill out. I done the very best I could, and I turned them in. After I turned them in, I left, and as I was leaving, a group of white men was interfering with some of my friends, and I got them in my truck and got them away as quick as I could.
My name is Curtis Dawson. I was born and raised in the Mid-County. I was in Liberty, Mississippi on the way to the courthouse for to register the vote. Me and Knox and Moses. We met 3 white men. And one of those men jumped on Moses and began to beat him.
Herbert Lee was the father of some 9 children in the Mid-County, Mississippi. The county is 54% Negro. He tried very hard to get his fellow citizens out to register and vote. He was killed by a state representative from Mississippi, a white state representative, after he himself had tried to vote. These are pictures of his wife and his 9 children.
No more mourning, no. And
the director of the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee's voter registration project in Mississippi, Robert Moses.
The young people working with the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, or SNCC as we call it, are characterized by restless energy, radical change in race relations in the United States. Their world is upset, and they feel that if they are ever going to get it straight, they must upset it more.
My name is Charles McLaurin. I work in voter registration in Sunflower County. On January 25th, 1963, I went to the mayor's office in Indianola, Mississippi. The purpose was to see if there were any laws on the book that forbidded voter registration activities in the city. The mayor jumped from his seat and said, "You black son of a bitch, don't you come in here arguing at me." I told him that we were there to do voter registration and that if there were any laws that forbidded it, to let me know. And he said no. I turned to walk away, and he called me back, said, "Go out and teach everybody in the town. I don't care. But if you go into any churches, I will cut off the tax exemption."
My name is Jesse Harris, and I participate in voter registration in the Mississippi Delta. It was during 1962. I was arrested in Jackson for contempt of court and fined $1 fine and 30 days in Hinds County Farm. The first time I was beaten was in Hinds County on the elevator when the officer asked me my name and where I'm from, and I told him I was from Jackson. And so he beat me and he hit me side the head in the back and things. The second time I was beaten on the Hinds County Farm because he asked me where I was from also, and I told him Jackson, and he said, "Are you one of those Freedom Riders?" And I told him I didn't know what it was, so he beat me. And the third time I was beaten was on the county farm because I refused to move a 200-pound log. And the fourth time I was beaten because...
My name is Hollis Watkins. I participated in a demonstration in Macomb, Mississippi, and was arrested for breach of peace along with 115 other students, while a mob waited on the outside. After being questioned, I was carried into a room where a police officer came in and got a rope and said, "Okay, nigga, get up from here and let's go. We're going to have a hanging here tonight, and you're going to be first." I looked at the officer as he looked at me, and then he walked out.
I'm Samuel Block, Field Secretary for the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee. I've been working in Greenwood, Mississippi, Leflore County. My purpose of being in Greenwood is to teach the Negroes their duties and obligations and responsibilities of citizenship under a constitutional form of government. And by doing this, I teach how important the ballot is and voter registration. My first trip to the courthouse, I carried 8 people up to register. I was met by the sheriff. He asked me where was I from. I told him I was a native Mississippian. He said, yes, I know that, but where are you from? I told him I was a native Mississippian, around in here someplace. He said, well, what county? I said, well, around here, some of these counties. Well, he got angry. He spit it in my face, and he walked away. He turned around and came back. And he pointed his finger in my face. He said, look. He said, I know every nigger and his mammy around here. I asked him, did he know any of the colored people? He looked at me, and he spit it, he walked away again, and he came back. He said, look, so I don't want to see you around in here no more in this county. So I want you to leave town, pack your bag, and leave town right now. Get out of town. Don't let me catch you around here no more. So I wasn't frightened. I looked at him. I told him, well, Sheriff, if you don't want to see me around here in town no more, the best thing for you to do is pack your bags and leave, because I'll be here. I knew that I wasn't leaving.
Today in 1963, the fight to enjoy the rights of first-class citizenship is still being waged in this country. The needs of the people on the front line are great. We need typewriters, papers, money for food, and anything that you can find that is useful. If you can find anything that is useful, it can be sent to the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, 6 Raymond Street, Atlanta, Georgia. help us who have fought for so many years to make the world safe for democracy. And I fight now to make democracy safe for the world.
No, we'll never turn back until we've all been free, and we have equal.
This has been African American History is American History.